Bridging the gap between sports entertainment and NFTs. It's on the mind of Tom Brady. It's on the mind of the world of combat sports. And we have an amazing panel. So please welcome Dillon Rosenblatt, who's the CEO and co-founder of Autograph, as well as Tamoor, Baig, founder of Wrestling Metaverse, and Tuffnell, who's the head of community for Wrestling Metaverse. Welcome, gentlemen. I can, if you think about what makes this conference exciting and what's coming exciting, just look at this panel where we have one company, Autograph, that is aligned with the biggest names in sports. And then we have another, which is really about emerging combat sports and NFTs and community. And it's all together here at this conference. So there's a lot to talk about. We'll start with Dillon. Just talk about the launch of Autograph and who's involved for anybody in the audience who doesn't know.
Yeah, happily. So for anyone that isn't aware, around a year ago now, last August, Autograph launched with some of the world's greatest icons on DraftKings Marketplace. That decision was made to tap right into sports fans, let them pay in fiat. But what was most notable and exciting about the launch, I think, at that time was who we ended up aligning with. So we ended up coming out the gate with Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, Derek Jeter, Wayne Gretzky, Rob Gronkowski, and a plethora of other icons, with the goal of bringing their fans a brand new experience through the medium of collectibles. And as our business develops, we want to look at the other pillars of how they can interact with their fans and their audiences and start driving new ways of interaction. So we've been really fortunate to work with those amazing athletes. We have a deal with Lionsgate as well. We've done a Saw NFT drop and are building into some of their other properties as well. So it's just the first step of many for us in bringing these amazing properties to the world in a brand new way.
In River and Lewis, combat sports, wrestling, boxing, ultimate fighting, it's the fastest growing genre, sporting competition around the world. Talk about the launch of your product and where you are today.
Yeah, thanks very much, John. So you know, guys, we originally launched as Wrestling Metaverse, wanting to essentially be, wrestling kind of brand and a play-to-earn kind of game for the wrestling community. We actually pivoted a few months later, opting to also add MMA and boxing into kind of the kind of game as well. And ultimately, that decision was based on the fact that there was just so much overlap between a wrestling fan and an MMA fan or a boxing fan. A lot of us grew up watching wrestling and then maybe ended up watching MMA instead. Just, it's a bit more different, exciting. Obviously, it's real. And the reason we kind of launched it was because what we realized was a lot of companies were essentially aiming at some of the bigger sports, NFL, NBA, soccer as well. The kind of sports combat genre was very much being overlooked at the time. So for us, it was an interesting gap in the market to actually kind of capitalize on.
Do you have some of the top fighters involved? How are you reaching that market?
Yeah, what's really cool is what's sad about cool as well is because there's not a lot for MMA fighters and pro wrestlers and even boxers to do actually after they finish, and kind of retire. There's a lot of, they themselves want to stay active, right? They're like any other kind of, any of us. We want to do stuff even when we're home. They have like that itch to kind of, get out there and build their business, build their brand. So it's not been too challenging for us to get in touch with the right type of kind of names and get them on board. We've got about 21 athletes at the moment on board. We've revealed some names already, but some of them we're keeping back just until we launch our main sale for our collection. But yeah, it's not been too difficult, mainly because they want to get involved. It's exciting for them. It's fun. Their kids talk about NFTs, or the kids kind of buy Fortnite skins, etc. So they see this as like a similar kind of opportunity, for them to get involved in.
So Dillon, when we were talking, a few minutes ago, you basically said you sort of had an epiphany when this concept of sort of digital ownership and digital scarcity. When did that sort of come to you? How did that sort of trigger the vision for what you're doing now?
Well, I came from a program where people were making incredible digital art around me all the time. And maybe in kind of a business focused person would say, you should sell that. You can make a ton of money. That's beautiful. And they would say, who's going to buy a piece of digital art right now? And so the moment I heard that digital ownership was going to be possible in the blockchain, it kind of immediately went to, that could solve that problem, and then the mind starts turning of what other problems can it solve? How can IP be represented differently in this space, whether it's art or media or collectibles or all of the above? So for Autograph at first, we said this on a ton of pitches, and we still mean it and live by it. The goal for us was just to find the audiences that were the most excited about their icon, that thing that they loved, and bring them into the Web3 world in a safe and accessible way. So in the first chapter, we started off with launching the majority of our collectibles on DraftKings Marketplace, which is partially why I think some people here might not be as familiar with our brand. But we're currently building out drop functionality on our own site and plan to bring a little bit more of that experience for the consumer back home in a variety of different ways. And it's just been exciting overall. It was just the fact that digital ownership can change the way that we interact on the web. I listened to something, a Genius podcast from Mark Andreessen, where he was saying that the ability to, well, he said something about that the way that payments are set up is one of the reasons that the web hasn't reached full decentralization. And it's given companies in the Web 2 world too much power. And so in Web 3, the fact that that ownership and that transaction can really be driven by the consumer wherever they want to do it on their own terms, I think was a powerful enough change where it became really clear to me that I was going to quit my job and dive into this space and just start to, I guess, make it accessible, but also learn, get to know the community, and start building something that we think has a chance to be really meaningful over the long term.
Some of your key, some of your key investors, co-founders are among the busiest people on earth. I was reading Seth Wickersham has written a terrific book about the Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, and the chapters about Tom Brady are so detailed about his schedule and obsessive use of time. So when you got time with him to talk about this, which is not uncomplicated, right? This is a brand new way. Like, how did you get his attention? What got him so excited about this?
I think for him, he's been in the world of memorabilia and collecting for a long time. And if you've seen the sales of Tom Brady rookie cards and all of the above, collecting was something he was really familiar with. And I think that concept of digital ownership got him really excited. But what he said from day one was, this is a chance to tell brand new stories. A lot of people in his life and in my life believe in the power of making people understand more about you, what you're doing, and your objectives through telling a story. It's human nature to remember things differently. So he really saw it from a creative perspective that this is a brand new medium for storytelling, and I can dive in and provide my community and my audience with brand new things and ways to engage with me. And he just immediately got it. That light bulb went off, and he has been an amazing partner and person to work with throughout the entire process. I mean, sometimes you hear about you invited someone that's of that caliber, that status, a celebrity, to something, and it was difficult to get a hold of them, or they didn't respond. He has been nothing but the perfect partner, and his level of commitment to this company is unbelievable. So he's just excited about the future, and both storytelling in fantastic ways and connecting iconic properties or iconic people and their audiences in new ways.
So, so Dillon is talking about the future. When you guys look at your company, your market, where is that headed? How are you serving? I mean, obviously, in this country, Tom Brady, the NFL is like the center of all of all sports fandoms. It's not hard to get people's attention. How are you guys doing that? What are some of the plans that you guys have?
So I guess there's two parts, right? One, for us, we're building a game first. That's our core focus. A lot of our team, etc., their background is in game development, etc. So a lot of our focus is around just making sure the game is fun, it's accessible. It's got elements of combat sports in there, but it's not kind of stuck to some of the combat sports. Physics, right? If any of you played the UFC games or some of the wrestling games or boxing games, over the years they felt less like games and more like simulations. They're really real. They're very slow. As a gamer, it's not a fun experience anymore. So for us, it's about taking some of the elements of combat sports and but putting them into a fast-paced, kind of slightly over-the-top game. I kind of describe it internally as we're building the kind of the Fortnite of combat sports. Where instead of guns, but it's punches and kicks, etc. So that's like one of the core focuses for us. And then where the athletes kind of come in is more around being a skin as part of that game, right? People want to be an athlete to play the game because it's fun. And the athletes for us is very much distribution as well, right? It's for us to be able to connect to a wider audience, to be able to onboard them onto our game and also onto Web3 as well. So that's kind of like our kind of core USP in terms of working with these athletes.
Are some of the athletes, at least the younger ones, interested in playing the game too?
Yeah, I mean, even some of the older guys, we've got Al Snow, one of famous wrestler from like the 90s and the 2000s. He's a very, very active gamer. Blue Meanie as well. Some of these guys have Twitch accounts, etc. as well. Some of the MMA fighters, they're on Twitch as well. Their kids are on Twitch. They play it all the time. So they're quite excited about just kind of, being a brand and playing the game on Twitch and kind of marketing it like that, through just kind of enjoying it as opposed to just, the usual social media post only. Some people are excited as gamers and some people are excited as kind of performers, to see their character inside of a game, sometimes for the very first time as well.
Do you, either you guys, influenced by your childhood in terms of what you put together now? I mean, I think a lot about like the kinds of things that we played as kids and how limited it seemed in terms of what's possible today. Did any of that influence the company that you created?
Yeah, so something from the childhood and something we've seen over the last 18 months is the birth of NFT profile picture communities and other NFTs. And obviously what was kind of taken away a little bit during COVID and the lockdown for everyone was that camaraderie of going to the football or going to the boxing with your family and your friends. And we saw this birthplace within Discord mainly of these groups getting together from all across the globe and suddenly becoming best friends or talking about the same passion. So you've got certain people who are NFT fans, you've got certain people who are, their particular favorite is a certain profile picture, for example, but they're fans of the space as a whole. They're trying to now grow it. So I think we find ourselves almost in the middle here, that we've got these people who are into NFTs and are part of our community now, but you've also got the sports fans, the MMA fans, the wrestling fans, and we're in a place where we're trying to bring these guys together, making sure that it's simple and it's safe. I think that's a lot of inspiration for where we're going.
It's powerful. Dillon, you talked about storytelling. Do you contemplate sort of novel, new type of experiences that are going to be created out of your platform?
We do, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in terms of the next chapter of Autograph. I view fanship today as a generally disconnected experience, and I think Web3 and the ownership of NFTs can be a driving force for fan bases to unite in brand new ways and to be more connected to both each other and the sport that they care about. So through both physical and digital solutions, Autograph wants to build into what that future of fandom just might be. Across different mediums, I think that starting with sports made a ton of sense because of the familiarity with collecting and getting closer to icons, and I think it's one of just the best forms of fanship in the world. People love their teams overall, and they love their sports. So we're going to dive into other verticals as well. But to give some tangible examples, some of it I'm trying to keep behind closed doors right now, but in the physical, it can be people organizing in brand new ways, both driven by the community and driven by Autograph, around a season, around an event, around something that audience is really going to care about. And then in the digital world, I believe we have the opportunity to build a suite of tools that can bring fan bases one step closer to things they care about. If I'm a fan of a team, I can now be a little bit closer beyond just buying a ticket or wearing the jersey to this actual thing that I care about and that defines so much of me.
It's so funny. There's a fellow named Steve Bornstein who was the president of ESPN when I started, and he said to me at the time we had two networks. He said, every time you underestimate the passion of a sports fan, you're surprised. And so ESPN went on to have multiple networks and, streaming and any number of things. And yet it still seems like the tip of the iceberg as to what's possible.
I think it is. In an odd way, I like to relate sports fandom to NFT fandom. And the example I use is that you're from Chicago. You love the Bears. You show up to a random bar in another city and you see someone in a Bears jersey, you're more likely to share an interest with that person and to say hello to them. It's the ultimate icebreaker.
And it's the only thing, frankly, that's an icebreaker.
Right.
Now.
I don't know if there's something else. I wouldn't see someone wearing my same brand and say, nice, whatever. But I think it's amazing. But it's the same way that if you walked up to someone here and they also owned a Bored Ape, you'd of course say hello and start that conversation. So that icebreaker, I think, is incredibly powerful. And it's going to translate, and why it's already translated into new interactions in Discord, people connecting more meaningfully digitally. And I can't wait to see that momentum grow and those byproducts of digital ownership start to manifest in different ways.
Yeah. So I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of questions from the audience, so we want to devote time. Who has a question for these gentlemen? Yeah.
So I have a question for Dillon. Dillon, I'm a proud owner of a golf cart from the match.
Awesome.
And I live now in Las Vegas, so it's down the street. But I loved, as a marketing advertising girl, I worked in advertising agencies for 15 years. I love what your team did to create a meaningful experience through Capital One and through the match, through the email and just watching on TV with the QR code. So to me, that was entertainment. And I'm an NFT collector, and I'm all in the mix. Curious, what do you have on board for other experiences inside Autograph, maybe with your up-and-comers like Sabrina or Simone or whoever?
Yeah, we actually just had a Twitter Spaces with Sabrina today, which was super fun, and I really appreciate that. And maybe for some context, so we have an amazing and vibrant community on Autograph, and after 8 months of collecting, we wanted to do something really special for the community. So Tom Brady was playing in the match with Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, and we were able to take over 50 collectors out to the match and provide some an ultra VIP experience, some a Top Golf, dinners, all of the above, set up for our community. And then we activated through a QR code on TV that anybody could pick their phone up and scan and redeem a free NFT on autograph.io, which I think is a push for us of making it really accessible. You need to create an account on Autograph. Of course, you could connect a wallet, but we made the account flow really simple, and we had almost 10,000 people redeem the NFTs. There was actually so much traffic that I love that you redeemed one. There was so much traffic that it actually took our site down for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it would have been more. But
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, I know. But also I wish it stayed up. But in terms of other community experiences, I think you're going to see more and more from us of things of that same vein. I think partnering with experiences that are happening in our network and brand new ones. I think the next place to get really excited about an experience, to tease something, would be around the start of the football season. Obviously, we have Tom Brady going back at it with the Buccaneers, and so really excited to roll some stuff out for our community as well as new community members that will hopefully come out of this conversation in the near future.
Yeah.
Just a quick follow-up. I live in Nevada. I cannot mint anything. As we know, DraftKings, you said you're going to unlock soon.
Can't mint on DraftKings. So there's some currently on OpenSea right now, but the drops on Autograph should be all 50 states starting later this summer.
Cool. Next question. Yeah.
I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
So for like combat sports community, like that aren't interested in crypto, how do you connect them to that market?
Combat community interested in crypto. How do you connect? Not the
The non-crypto with the crypto.
how do you connect the non-crypto with the crypto communities?
So just to be clear, is it the ones that aren't interested in crypto, i.e. they don't like it at all, or the ones that just don't know about it?
Don't know about it.
Got it. So it's a long game, right? There's no one solution that's going to get them over. If there was, we'd have had them all by now, right? And I'm not talking about combat sports, but just all the sports, right? It's, it takes time, simple as that. That adoption curve that we're all familiar with, that we've seen in the before, that's how we view it, right? Our job isn't to bring every single combat sports fan into Web3. Our job is to just build a great product and market it to some of these fans, and the ones that are responsive to it, great. and how we're marketing it to these fans is by actually using some of the athletes that they've connected with and resonated with, over the years, and are more likely to kind of, do something that they recommend. So that's kind of like how we view it, right? There's no, you have to force them through, or, try and kind of, pay exuberant amounts to collect users, etc. It is very much like a long tail kind of view. So sorry, I'm not trying to cop out in terms of giving you like a false answer. I'm just trying to give you like a real kind of, holistic view of how we view it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, in what River's talking about, we've heard a few times today, which is that you want to try to abstract out the technology and just focus in on what's the fan benefit. And that will get people interested. The more complicated we make it, the longer it's going to take for adoption, which is, so next. Yeah.
What blockchain are you guys doing this on? And second question, what is that picture for Lewis's?
So we launched on Avalanche for the pre-sale. The main sale will be taking place on Ethereum. And this is Avax Apes.
And what blockchain are you guys on?
We're on a combination of Polygon and Ethereum mainnet.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
If you guys had a magic wand, what do you see as the future and the potential? If you had a magic wand, what is the ultimate possible of where this space?
If I had a magic wand, I mean, if I could start. I think it would be these creators, whether it be a new and up-and-coming creator that have really benefited today from the power of Web3, or an individual icon, or a property that has to go through an art or a studio process, being able to connect with their fan bases more directly and in a more symbiotic relationship where they're able to work together and both benefit from either the fandom that's rewarded or the IP and the talent that they create. So whether that's through, like we said, abstracting away the complexity while still taking all the best benefits of the technology, returning power to the user is going to be incredibly important. But I'd say it has the chance to disrupt the normal and brand new relationships. Something we like to, or that just came to mind really, is that Tom right now, if he wants to share something with his audience, is going through another medium centrally, and whether it's an Instagram, a Twitter, any of the above, they're capturing a lot of that value on their platform. Why is there no channel today for him to go directly to his audience and those that actually care enough to learn a new technology or sign up for a new platform and get one step closer to him? So really to breed that connection in an authentic and unique way and have that happen at scale would be the big dream for me with NFTs and the IP that we work with.
Just for example, and this might be where you're going before, traditionally, NFL preseason games generate the least interest. Tom Brady will come out and play one series, typically. But the first time he comes back this August and plays, you could construct some sort of set of experiences for his fans that had never been seen before and could take that game and make it much more important than historically has been. And again, we look at these things conventionally because that's all we know. But there's so much possibility because of what's possible now.
I mean, there's just a lot of white space. A lot of opportunity between the traditional experience of getting excited on Twitter and then watching the game. How else can he give back to his audience? Or how else can we curate an experience that both respects his time and engages the audience in the right way? So that's the questions, the type of questions we ask ourselves a lot as we build out this next suite of products.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ooh, fun question. I mean, I want our athletes to make money. Simple as that, right? I love that. Not just because they work with us, but I love these people because I watched a lot of them growing up. So it's great to see some people who have retired and have gone down to maybe making like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, having gone from making a couple $100,000 a year or a couple million a year. And some of these people, they may not have saved enough money for retirement or spent it all. You hear all these stories about people like Mike Tyson going bust, etc. It's quite sad to see that happen to these kind of people that have kind of given us such magical moments as fans. So for me, in a weird way, like I see You know, and it's, you know, I'm not saying I'm not the most altruistic person on the planet, but this is like our way of giving back to them. Right? It's an opportunity of giving them something different that they haven't kind of done before. You know, these athletes, they already sell, you know, like signed autographs or T-shirts, or, you know, they go to events and take pictures and sell them. The fans are bored of that. They've seen that for 20 years now with some of these athletes. So they want something different, both the athlete and the fan. You know, so I don't really mind like our athletes making money. They have to make money, otherwise why are they doing it, and why are we doing it as an entity as well, right? And you know, the more money they make, the more they support us. So it's a beneficial relationship in that way as well.
So can I get a hand, please, for Lewis and River and Dillon?
Thank you.